Great to have you with us. We're talking about this legislation working its way through the Florida House and Senate now that, if it becomes law, would do something I support. Require mandatory drug testing for welfare applicants. And they have to pay for the test. Cruel and heartless, fair and appropriate. We're talking about it. Peter in Orlando on BHL. Good morning, Pete.
Hey, good morning, Bud. Well, here we go. It's another thing. It seems like they're putting things against the hardworking man, the less fortunate, when there's so many cuts that need to be made in the state government.
Well, hang on a second here. All we're trying to do is not provide taxpayer dollars to people on drugs, because you know they're going to use it to buy drugs. Why should we not at least have the expectation that people are clean?
Well, you haven't made the cuts that's necessary for the state. For example, some of the inefficient government agencies. I'm going to give you an example.
Yeah, but you need to answer my question here, Peter. You need to answer the basic question here. If you're clean, you're not on drugs, and you're a legitimate candidate for welfare, no problem. Happy to provide the safety net. As a society, that's something we have committed to do. We can have the debate about that another day. But all we're trying to do is say, no, we're not flushing our taxpayer dollars down a druggie's rat hole. You got to be clean, or we can't help you until you get clean. And
Go ahead.
What's wrong with that?
Well, I got a problem with it because they're still looking at putting the pressures of someone that's less fortunate, and just almost putting the blame for someone that's.
Well, whoa! What is the connection between being less fortunate and being on drugs? Does being less fortunate justify being on drugs?
Absolutely not. But when is it going to stop? You're going to be if a person late for taxes, or they're back on their taxes, are they going to stop welfare for them? Where's it going to stop? They're just starting something that is back on the backs of someone less fortunate. And I'm telling
Why don't we have the right, as the people who are footing the bill, to know that our money is not going down a rat hole? That's all we're asking. We want you clean, and if you need help, fine. If you're not clean, we're not going to help you till you get clean.
Okay, what kind of help are you going to provide someone that's not clean, quote unquote, not clean?
Well, then they have programs, they have centers, they have places they can go to get clean.
But
when you get clean, then we'll help you.
He's cutting the funding for those programs. That's what
he's not cutting it out, he's reducing it. Everything's got to be reduced. We can't afford to live like we were living before. Trust me, there'll be a place for somebody to get help, Peter. I think you and I have a disconnect there. I do. Here's Joe from Mount Dora. I hope I got him reconnected. Here's Joe. Good morning, Joe.
Hey, good morning, Bud. How are you doing today?
Outstanding. How are you, sir?
I am great. I was just thinking about this in a different way. You know, when a person, I've been on welfare before. I've lost my job, and I appreciated getting the welfare. But the thing about it is that was a long time ago since I've had that happen, and I had to work my tail off to prove to the state that I was looking for a job. I mean, I had to bring in all kinds of proof that I was going on job hunts and interviews and everything.
I think that's fair.
What I understand, that has really slacked off, and it's really easy to just game the system these days. And I think that's what most people really, I think, that it's easy to game the system.
Now, Joe, you may be right, and we've talked about that before here, but let me ask you, where are you on making it mandatory that those applying for welfare submit to a drug test and pay for the drug test?
Well, I don't have any problem at all with that because, First of all, the people who are collecting unemployment and welfare, they are not employees of the state. They are welfare recipients. And now, if we want to, and I don't see anything wrong with having people who collect welfare or
they are kind of employees of the state because they're paid the same way from our pockets.
Yeah, but they're not doing any work. Now, maybe they should. Maybe people who collect welfare and unemployment should be doing something for the public.
Well, you may be right, Joe, but I'm telling you what, you're raising great issues, but you're taking me away from this legislation and whether or not this is cruel and heartless or fair and appropriate. And I want to get to more calls focused on that, if you don't mind. Now down to Winter Haven. Stephanie's joining the Bud Man here. Good morning, Stephanie.
Good morning, Bud. I believe that, yes, they should. However, the 1 year waiting, I don't know how
If you test positive, you got to wait another year before you come back.
Well, I work at a school system. There's a lot of kids on free or reduced lunch. How are they going to feed their kids? And I can tell you, they're probably going to turn to crime. I mean, I'm not saying just because you're on drugs or addicted, I don't think means you don't love your kids. You're going to provide or try to provide for your kids. I think they need the system to get the people off the drugs so it's not a continuing, perpetuating problem. But
So is the only problem you have with the legislation is if you get a positive test, you shouldn't have to wait a full year to come back and try again?
I think they should provide something to help you get off the drugs if you want to, because you can't make people do it if they don't want to, no matter what.
Well, there are treatment centers to which I'm sure they would be referred, and even if there are cuts, they will still exist.
I don't believe it's as easy to get on them. I think we have a big problem in Polk County with meth, and from what I understand, it's expensive, it's difficult, it's one of the worst things. I don't think there's as much free treatment quality as you believe. I don't know. I'd like to hear from somebody who's tried to get off of it and who's tried to get on the system.
All right, thanks. I appreciate it, Stephanie. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Tell you what, I got another hot topic we need to get into here on the 50,000-watt front porch, and it is all these sleeping air traffic controllers. New regulations are kicking in across the country today. But I've got some real serious questions. I'm going to lay them out there for you and see what you think. 712 on BHL. Dead ahead. Right now, real-time traffic and weather together on the twos. Hey, I want to help you become contacts and glasses free the way I have been for years with the Filatowski Cataract and LASIK Institute, where right now a single email to me, the Budman, can save you $700. Just email me and ask for my special $700 savings card on high-definition LASIK. You just send the email to bud@540wfla.com, and I'm going to send you my special savings card. It's good for an incredible $700 total savings on the same high-definition LASIK from Dr. Conrad Filatowski that's given me amazing 2015 vision for more than 7 years. Goodbye to glasses and contacts. So liberating. It is terrific. Your world's going to look great, and you're going to look great, too. Now, Dr. Filatowski and Dr. Angela Dempsey, they team up to be the most experienced LASIK surgeons anywhere around. Well over 45,000 procedures done. Wow. And high-definition LASIK now more affordable than ever because of my $700 savings card. Just email me and get it, as so many have. It's bud@540wfla.com. Include your home mailing address, and I'll send my special $700 savings card right away. $700 just for an email to the Budman. Learn more. Call 800-I-EXAM. 800-I-EXAM. Please tell them the Budman sent you. Online, myvisionfreedom.com. It's clear to see why you should call Dr. Filatowski. Hey, how about lunch today or dinner tonight at my favorite restaurant? Have you been to Houlihan's? Have you been to Houlihan's lately? If you've been to Houlihan's, you know what a great place it is. I mean, they make everything from scratch at the 4 locations in Orlando, and it is a city beautiful tradition. Houlihan's like none other. You're going to love it. I mean, I just love the big New York strip steak. My wife had a buffalo chicken sandwich. I mean, truly, it's where filet mignon meets truck stop fries. And at Houlihan's right now, everybody can afford to go. They have a fabulous new menu, including 30 small plates from just $3. Flatbreads, sliders, kebabs, wow, all in a fabulous atmosphere, exemplary service, and there's nothing like Houlihan's. You'll see. Houlihan's, 4 locations. Check them out. 192 in Kissimmee, University Boulevard near UCF, East Colonial and I Drive. Check that website, too, and that huge menu for every taste and pocketbook. It's Houlihan's.com. Houlihan's. Michelle's going to have more on this at the bottom of the hour, so stay tuned for the news update. We've had another one of these cases of sleeping air traffic controllers. Why are we having an epidemic of this all of a sudden? I get a little bit suspicious when all of a sudden, you know, we've had the same regulations in place for quite a number of years now, and suddenly we have air traffic controllers falling asleep all over the country. Is there something going on here that nobody's gotten to the bottom of or nobody's admitting to? Just seems a little fishy to me, but more on that in just a moment. We've had another one of these down at a regional radar facility in Miami where they monitor high-altitude flights. A Miami controller fell asleep on the job, didn't miss any flight calls apparently. There were more controllers on duty, but he's been suspended. And Transportation Secretary Ray LaHood was on Fox News Sunday with Chris Wallace yesterday, and he was red hot. He was angry. He accepts, we're not going to put up with this. We expect controllers to come to work rested, ready to work, take personal responsibility for the safety in the control towers, zero tolerance for sleeping on the job. Quote, safety's our top priority. We'll continue to make whatever changes are necessary. So here are the changes that have come down the pike. And I don't know, they seem kind of marginal to me. New scheduling rules, and they're now officially in place. Controllers will now have a minimum of 9 hours off between shifts. That's 1 hour more than the 8 previously. So more rest, more sleep time, okay? And fewer falling asleep on the job, we're told. Does an hour make a difference? I don't know. Controllers won't be allowed to swap shifts without at least 9 hours of between shifts, and they can't switch to an unscheduled midnight shift following a day off, okay? FAA managers will schedule their own shifts in a way to ensure greater coverage in the early morning and late night hours. I don't know. This just doesn't seem like it's a very significant change to me. One thing that I found that's interesting, a significant percentage of air traffic controllers work what's called a 2-2-1 schedule. They working afternoon to night the first 2 days. Now listen to how this is set up and why. Followed by a mandatory minimum of 8 hours for rest before starting 2 morning to afternoon shifts, another 8 or more hours for sleep, then a final shift starting between 10 p.m. to midnight. And it all sets the stage for what? Packing in the work week so they only work 4 days and then they get a 3-day weekend. Well, wouldn't that be nice? Put me down for a 3-day weekend. I've been waiting 40 years. Haven't had one yet unless I schedule the time off that's coming to me. I mean, come on. All of this is so they can get the long weekend. That doesn't make any sense to me. A couple of other things don't make sense. The schedule changes don't seem all that significant to me. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you're in the air traffic control business, maybe you can set the record straight and you can tell me what it's like out there on the tower. 407-916-5400. Toll free 1-866-916-5400. None of these changes can happen without the controllers union agreeing. I mean, I just can't believe that when you have people falling asleep who are responsible for countless souls 35,000 feet in the air, that you can't fire them immediately. There can be no excuse for anybody ever falling asleep on the job as an air traffic controller on duty in a tower. And you can't fire them immediately. Why? Union regulations and protections. It's incredible. Oh, but there's more that's bothering me about this. 407-916-5400. I want to share it with you in 60 seconds. 722, updating real-time traffic and weather together now in the heart of the Monday commute. Sunny and 86 today, 62 here in Orlando. You know, the cynical side of the Budman here, this is going to anger some of you, okay? Keeps wondering if all of these sleeping air traffic controllers, all of these incidents happening now, it's been like 8 of them or something, if it's really more than coincidence. I'm just asking, gang. Could it be orchestrated by the workers through their union to try and force more controllers to be hired at taxpayer expense? Some of the small airports, like Reno, where they had a guy asleep, remember that? And the air ambulance was trying to land. There was nobody to talk to. They had to come down on their own. The answer is, okay, we have one controller on these small airports late at night. We're now going to have 2. John Micah says, head of the Transportation Department, wait a minute. That's a typical government solution. These guys average in pay and benefits $161,000 a year. And Micah says, so all of a sudden you double that. You bring another guy on. Union gets bigger, union gets stronger. I just kind of wonder, how can all of these people suddenly be falling asleep around the country? Is it some kind of a job action? Now, 99% of the air traffic controllers are great pros and very responsible, and they understand they have lives quite literally in their hands. And they do an exemplary job. The air safety record is great in this country, maybe better now than it's ever been. And the air traffic controllers can lay claim to some of that and get credit for that. So I'm not bashing the controllers. I'm not bashing unions here. I'm just asking, why are we all of a sudden hearing about this now? And is there something going on? Are they trying to achieve something? Get some changes effected? Increase the staffing? 407-916-5400. Micah's right. You know, all of a sudden the government solution is to double the payroll. You know, 407-916-5400. Do you think it's coincidence that they're all falling asleep? We're hearing about this now? You think something's going on here? Do you think these changes really make a big enough difference? And does it grind your gears that you can't just fire because of the union? You can't. If this was a private sector operation, every one of those sleeping air traffic controllers would have been bounced out the door just as soon as they were awakened. You know, this is the part of unions that nobody likes and respects, is they protect people who do not deserve protection. And this is a classic example. In a job like this with lives at stake, you fall asleep, you go do something else for a living. You are gone. But no, it can't be. Chris Wallace asked LaHood, he says, well, we got, we have a union to deal with, we got regulations and procedures and all of this. I'll bet you these guys never get fired. Oh, they get suspended, there's an investigation, and then they put them back on, I don't know, put them on no-dos or something. I mean, come on. I find this really disturbing. I really do. And it looks like a nibble around the edges solution. And how in the world can you rationalize packing all these hours into 4 days a week just so a guy can get a 3-day weekend? I'm sorry. 3-day weekend would be nice, but not too many of us ever get one. Here in Tampa is Bob with the Budman on 540 WFLA. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
I think we should be laying off some of these air traffic controllers who are only landing 3 or 4 or 5 flights a night. There's many major airports that don't have air traffic controllers on during the night shift, and they land fine. These planes that these people were sleeping with, they landed fine. Why do we need these people working night shift if they're only landing 5 planes a night?
I don't know. I thought it was pretty standard in the industry that the situation you should have is a connection to an air traffic controller from the cockpit.
Not from the news reports I've been listening to over the weekend. They're saying a lot of major airports just don't have anybody on because they don't land enough flights and they can land on their own.
I'm not aware of that. That's very interesting. I'll have to check further. That sounds a little strange to me. Thank you. Here is Deidre in Longwood. Deidre, good morning.
Good morning, Bud.
So what do you think?
Well, I think regarding the air traffic controllers, the way to keep the rest of them awake is to fire the one that fell asleep. And I realize with the union you can't do it, but any place else, that would be the biggest wake-up call for the ones who are still there.
You know, there ought to be certain things, even in a union shop, where it's automatic, immediate termination. And falling asleep as an air traffic controller ought to be at the top of the list.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I agree.
You know, right along with being dead drunk.
Right. Exactly.
You can't have that.
There shouldn't be a question. There shouldn't be an investigation.
Yeah.
You know, they made a mistake and they have to pay for it now rather than, you know, countless lives paying for it.
Thank you, Deidre. Thanks. I appreciate you. It's 7:28 here on BHL. Coming up next, talking about that phenomenal tea party last Friday that I emceed with so many of you patriots at Lake Eola. Great pictures posted on the website, videos, the whole deal. I've got some things I want to share with you. And also, right in the tea party wheelhouse, what ought to be done about raising the debt limit? I say no. Enough's enough. No raising the debt limit. Next on BHL at 7:29.
Transportation Secretary Ray LaRue has announced new work rules for air traffic controllers. This comes after another controller was found sleeping on the job. This one was done in South Florida and Miami over the weekend. Steve Santoni has more. All of this, of course, coming in the wake of 5 recent incidents when controllers fell asleep on duty. The latest came in Miami. No calls from aircraft were missed, and the controller was suspended. That announced 3 key changes. There will be more managers on the overnight shifts, no schedule switching between employees unless rest is taken into account, and a mandated 1 extra hour between air traffic controller shifts. This week, a decision by the city of Orlando could let the developers of the Orlando Thrill Park know if they have the green light to move ahead with their project. There needs to be a zoning change to allow the park to clear a 70-acre wooded area and begin construction. The theme park, which would drag about 15 roller coasters, among other thrill rides, would be constructed out by Festival Bay Mall on I-Drive. Florida's unemployment rate has dropped for 3 months in a row, and there are 44,000 more jobs in Florida so far this year. Rebecca Rice of the Agency for Workforce Innovation says there are a lot of jobs out there, but you need the right skills.
The jobs started at the top of this list as registered nurses, almost 15,000 job openings in the state. But when I go to the list of the top jobs that are advertised on the internet, most of them are medical-related, sales or retail-related, or computer-related.
But there are still a lot more legislation will be watched closely this week by gay employees at the county. The county considering offering benefits to the partners and family of gay employees that would include health insurance, life, dental, and bereavement benefits. If the commission votes in favor of the proposal, the new benefits would go into effect January 1st. 540 WFLA News Time, 7:32. I'm Michelle Moreau. Get these stories and more at 540WFLA.com. Coming up, more BHL. David Oz, Volkswagen Legal Traffic Center. Still pretty good shape along I-4, although we are getting sluggish eastbound between Giant Parkway and OBT. Also pretty heavy now westbound along the interstate between 434 headed into Maine Boulevard. Sticking outside Betty Boy as well, and westbound direction of the corner away from Milldown between 2 I-4. We're in great shape along 529 so far this morning, and no reported delays along the Turnpike or the Greenway. From the traffic center, I'm Ray.
Traffic on air online is service of Allstate. Get better protection with a personal touch. Your local Allstate agent will help you get the coverage that's right for you at the best possible price. Find an agent near you at Allstate.com. Dollar for dollar, nobody protects you like Allstate. Save on your mortgage. Go to Trustco Bank for details. Member FDIC equal housing lender.
From 540 WFLA, Orlando's 24-hour weather channel, the only chance for rain this week will push in on Tuesday night. Otherwise, it's going to be hot this week. Sunshine high today, close to 90, low to mid-90s tomorrow. Weather updated around the clock on 540 WFLA. I'm David Knight, from the Weather Channel.
Thanks a special conference of Home Grinder. Cowboys keeps on 407-916-5400. Toll free, 866-916-5400.
You know, the whole Tea Party movement, which had its latest incarnation on the shores of Lake Eola Friday, was founded maybe more closely focused on reducing government spending, size of government and cost of government than anything else. And that's why I did so much thinking over the weekend. There was so much talk at the Tea Party about the spending, about raising the debt limit, about what it's going to take to save this country. I've been looking at this raising the debt ceiling that we are being scared into believing absolutely has to be done no matter what. And I've had enough. That's it. That's it. I want Congress to suck it up and vote against raising the debt limit when they come back, regardless of whether they're able to get major spending cuts agreed to. We're being assured that this would be an absolute catastrophe, and this weekend the Treasury Secretary and tax chief Tim Geithner was out there with those raised, arched eyebrows on the Sunday talk shows, assuring us that there is no question the debt limit must and will be raised by Congress.
Let me tell you how we're going to do this. Congress is going to have to raise the debt limit. They understand that. That's absolutely essential to preserve the credit worthiness of the United States of America. You know, we're a country that meets its obligations, and we have to meet our obligations, and they recognize that. In fact, I heard the leadership tell the president that again on Wednesday.
And he got angry about those out there, Jim DeMint and others, who were saying, well, no, enough is enough. You know, and Geithner simply said it must be done and it will be done. That's the height of arrogance on his part. You know, Congress isn't supposed to answer to Tim Geithner. Congress is supposed to answer to we, the people who elected them. It's a representative republic, unless I've missed something along the way or something has changed while I was grabbing a few hours of sleep. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm willing to go to the wall and beyond on this thing. And I'm tired of these overblown scare tactics by these fear-mongerers. And we have been sucked in by them before, have we not? Do you remember in September of 2008, this is the end of the Bush administration, when the wheels were coming off the economy, and all of a sudden the Treasury Secretary then, Henry Paulson, you know, with fire in his eyes and lips quivering, got in front of the microphone and said, we've got to have $700 billion right now, or this country's going off a cliff. And everybody panicked across the country, everybody panicked in Congress, and they gave him what he wanted. Did it make anything better? I'm not aware that it did. And then comes Obama with the stimulus plan, Got to have it. Got to vote tonight. Can't take a look at what's in the bill. This has got to happen now. Otherwise, this entire country is diving into the abyss, and it is over. And so we all panicked across the land, and our representatives panicked in Washington on our behalf, and we gave them what they wanted. I'm done. I'm done. Now, I would like to see, even though Geithner has contempt for this, I would like to see a vote to raise the debt limit contingent upon huge spending cuts. Huge ones that aren't bogus deals like we had last time with the $39 billion that through accounting tricks and other things was really $352 million, as the CBO told us. They're going to try to play that same game with us. But as far as I'm concerned, if I were in Congress now, I would fight for the spending cuts, but there is no way I would vote to raise the debt limit. Let the chips fall where they may. Enough's enough. You know, if raising the debt limit is the responsible thing, look where it's gotten us. We continue to raise the debt limit. We've raised it like 70 times over the years. And where's it gotten us? To the absolute brink of financial collapse. So how about if we don't raise it? How much worse could that be? I'm done. I'm done being victimized by these fearmongers. I'm done with not facing up to our problems. And I'm done with failing to have the courage to do the right thing. Let the chips fall where they may and face the future. It's just going to be tough. It's going to be painful. But we got to draw a line in the sand, and that's my bottom line on raising the debt limit. You know, I'm not completely alone on this. If you're a Tea Party conservative, you ought to be with me on this. If you really are, you ought to be with me. It's the heart and soul of the Tea Party movement dealing with this situation. Tim Pawlenty, who's in the Republican race for president, he says don't raise the debt limit. Sarah Palin, who may or may not get in, but remains one of the most influential voices in the GOP, says don't raise the debt limit. Everybody else is dancing around it. Obama's got him buffaloed. Geithner's got him buffaloed. You know, as for Boehner and these guys, you know, they're rhinos. They compromise. They bend with the wind. They cave to political pressure. Let's go to the phones. Here's Don in Orlando at 740. Good morning, Don.
Hey, Bud, listen, you know, I'm not a Ivy Leaguer like you and Timmy Geithner.
I'm not an Ivy Leaguer.
You didn't go to Columbia?
No.
Columbia's not an Ivy League?
No. I went to Colgate. That was Ivy League for dummies.
Oh, excuse me. It begins with a C. You know, I'm an old Alabama guy.
You're a Crimson Tide guy?
I'm an Alabama football player, and I only made B's and C's in underwater basket weaving, but I got an idea for little Timmy Geithner. I know he doesn't understand TurboTax, but maybe he can understand this.
Go.
You know, if you raise the debt limit today, you're going to have to raise it. As long as Bill Nelson and any other of his Democratic friends are in the Congress, you're going to be raising the debt limit again in a few more months. If Timmy could understand this, I know he can't understand TurboTax, but if he could get this, pay the interest on the debt. You know, protect the full faith and credit of the United States. And for that shortfall that's going to come by paying after you pay the interest on the debt, take that a piece out of the Environmental Protection Agency, take a piece out of the Department of Education, take a piece out of the Department of Energy, take a piece out of everything but defense, and pay and just pay and let those guys do with just a little bit less. And you know what we effectively have? We have a budget that gets better under control. We have a budget ceiling.
Appreciate you, Don, always. Thank you. Roll Tide. The Tea Party on Friday, were you there? Well, I was there at the microphone, and I got to tell you, you folks were awesome, and the raft of speakers they had was incredible. Herman Cain, wow. Were you there? Marco Rubio, woo. Surprise visit from Joe the Plumber, and more. We'll talk about it. Lots of pictures on the website, 407-916-5400. Toll free, 1-866-916-5400. If you were at the Tea Party, let's talk about it. How was it from your end of things in downtown Orlando Friday afternoon? 742 on BHL. Sunny and 86 today, 61 degrees here in Orlando right now. You know, so many of my listeners are saving such serious money on their homeowners insurance by connecting to the high technology of Florida insurance specialists through their website, ChallengeMyRate.com. You check this out, ChallengeMyRate.com. Go try, and minutes from now, you'll know how much you can save. Maybe hundreds, maybe well over $1,000, as so many of my listeners have. In Altamont Springs, one of my listeners switched from State Farm to Olympus by Florida Insurance Specialist, has now pocketed $700 a year in homeowners savings. Go to ChallengeMyRate.com. I think you'll be amazed. See what you can save right now. Online, ChallengeMyRate.com. On the phone, Florida Insurance Specialist, 407-805-0200. Hey, struggling with your weight? Boy, I did for years and years and years. How about you make this the day that you finally decide to dig in and do something about it, the way I did something about it through the Medifast weight control program at your Medifast Center. With help from your Medifast counselors and this delicious eating program, you can lose up to 2 to 5 pounds a week. Up to 2 to 5 pounds a week. I found it to be effortless, and all of a sudden the incredible shrinking Bud Man lost 75 pounds in 6 months. A real life changer, made me healthier in every way, and of course, I look better than I had in years. I want you to call your Medifast Center now. I want you to call them now, and you'll get 35 meals free with the purchase of a full program at your local Medifast Center. What an offer. What an opportunity. Today is the day. Let the Medifast weight loss experts at your Medifast Weight Control Center help you lose up to 2 to 5 pounds a week. It's all doctor recommended, developed by doctors, recommended by 20,000 physicians over the last 30 years. The one and only Medifast program. I know firsthand what it did for me, and if I can do it, you can do it too. Call them today, 1-888-9-MEDIFAST, 1-888-9-MEDIFAST, 1-888-9-MEDIFAST. 2 new centers in Lake Mary and Winter Park for your convenience. Online, MedifastFlorida.com. Here's Stan on the line from Orlando with the Budman. Good morning at 7:51, Stan.
Good morning, Bud. Great show. You did a wonderful job at the Tea Party as the moderator, and I applaud you for that. Marco Rubio, to me, was the highlight in terms of speaker. Unfortunately, I had to leave at 6.
Did you miss Herman Cain at the back end of it all?
Yeah.
Oh, boy, he was awesome.
Leave at 6, yeah.
That was a stem winder of a speech, but go ahead.
Oh, he's a great guy. Anyway, on the debt limit, I'm with you 100%. No games. I'm surprised Donald Trump isn't opposing raising the debt limit. I haven't heard. Is that accurate?
I'd have to see. I don't know on that, to be honest with you.
Okay. Yeah, I don't either. So I was just asking.
Yeah.
Anyway, bottom line for me, if you haven't seen Atlas Shrugged, I encourage everybody to see that. And Donald Trump, to me, is our John Galt. If we're going to save capitalism, he's the man, and I support him.
Thank you, Stan. I appreciate that. Now, coming up next, in 60 seconds, I'm going to try to give away a nice prize to somebody who can answer the Budman's Brain Buster question of the day. Brain Buster calls 407-916-5400, toll free 1-866-916-5400. Then more Tea Party talk. Brain Buster next on BHL. Traffic check now, 7:52. Always on the twos. Real-time traffic and weather together. Sunny and 86 today, 63 here in Orlando. Playing the Brain Buster right now, Jen, and you've been checking the prize closet. What do we got up for grabs?
Today we have a pair of tickets to Chairs for Charity. It's presented by Mustard Seed May 7th at the Sheraton, Orlando.
I'm going to be the MC for that great event. Great organization, the Mustard Seed. Looking forward to it.
We have cocktails, buffet, entertainment, and a silent and live auction of one-of-a-kind chairs designed by Orlando's most famous artists. Did you design a chair?
I will.
Are you going to?
Sure. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give him that one in my office with the broken caster. I'll dress that up a little bit, put a ribbon on it, and we'll see what we can get for it.
You're a class act, Bud Hettinger.
And top shelf all the way. All right, let's go now. Full bank of phones. If you're getting frustrated with a busy signal, hang tough, wait for a wrong answer, and Jenna's buzzer, because she loves the buzzer. And then you get the line open at 407-916-5400 just for you. This happens to be the anniversary of the opening of the original Yankee Stadium on this date in 1923. They called it the house that Ruth built because Babe Ruth was the preeminent slugger of his day, and fans had been turning out in such great numbers that they'd made a ton of money, and they had money to build the brand new stadium, which was the showplace of Major League Baseball. The house that Ruth built. The Budman's Brain Buster question is, what was the most money Babe Ruth ever was paid in a season? The most he ever was paid to play baseball. Let's go to line one on the Brain Buster. Line one, how much?
$50,000.
No, it's not $50,000. You are a little low. Let's go to line two and see if we get a winner here.
I'm going to say about $120,000.
Too high. So now we've got the high and the low. Let's see if we can nail it. Line three, how much?
$80,000.
Absolutely right. $80,000. Is that something you knew?
Yes.
Do you remember that was in 1930, and do you remember how he was criticized for that?
Yep, I've read about it.
It was amazing. Back in those days, by the way, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hannibal from Kissimmee.
First name?
Hannibal.
Oh, Hannibal, yes. You've been a caller on more than one occasion here. Hannibal, in 1930, they gave Babe Ruth a lot of flack. They said, come on, $80,000, you're in the middle of a depression, you're making more than the president. He said, yeah, well, I had a better year than him.
He had a better year, yeah.
That was the famous
prettier women, too.
Huh?
And prettier women also.
Yeah, probably true. All right, listen, Hannibal, hang on the line. We'll get you the information. Connect with Jeff here, and we'll get you those tickets. Hope to see you at that great Mustard Seed event. And congratulations.
Another happy contest winner on WFLA.
I just want to acknowledge the terrific folks who put on this Tax Day Tea Party down at Lake Eola on Friday afternoon from 4 until 6. Huge turnout on a hot day in the middle of a work day. And the absolute soul of the earth and the heart and soul of America were there, and that's you. Thousands of you were there, and I don't think anybody could possibly have been disappointed by the program that was put together by the Central Florida Tea Party Council and the FairTaxPatriots.org. Clyde Fabretti and the rest of the gang did an awesome job, and they attracted some phenomenal speakers. It led off with Marco Rubio. On the website, you can catch him handling a heckler pretty well, and it was bookended by Herman Cain, the talk show host and former Godfather's Pizza CEO, who is has formed an exploratory committee to run for president. He did the closing speech. He was late because he got caught on an airplane coming down from another Tea Party event in New Hampshire and hit a headwind. But he finally got there, and folks waited for him. Almost no one left. I mean, it was way late. And Herman spoke for about a solid half hour, no teleprompter, just walking all over the stage, and it was a stem winder of a speech. It was phenomenal. I told him afterwards, I don't endorse candidates, but I'd love to see you win the Republican presidential nomination just so I could watch the debates, because you would eat Obama's lunch. And he would. I mean, he was incredible. And Joe the plumber showed up. That was a surprise. Sandy Adams, District 24 Congresswoman, who made a courageous vote against that cockamamie, bogus budget-cutting deal when the numbers didn't add up. And so many other great speakers on the fair tax and everything else. And so many patriots with your signs and your flags and your patriotic fervor for this country. It was great to see the Tea Party movement that some have tried to convince us might be dying, just reignited in a fire of patriotism on the shores of Lake Eola on Friday. It was a blessing to be with you all. Lots of photos and videos posted on the website courtesy of Jenna, and thank you so much for that. You go check them out. Up next, Talking Politics with Lou Fry. Good morning at 7:58.
Much more. But not all commercial real estate agents are the same. You want a seasoned professional with a track record of success. An agent you can trust to put your best interests above their own. My team and I can help you. We call these superstar agents endorsed local providers because they're local agents in your city that I endorse. Each agent is reviewed based on their ability to sell, negotiate on a client's behalf, and the customer service they provide. To find a commercial agent, I recommend go to DaveRamsey.com and click Endorsed Local Provider. That's DaveRamsey.com and click Endorsed Local Provider. Experience is key when you hire a builder for your new dream home or remodeling project. The team at the Monty Anderson Construction Group has over 140 years of combined experience in residential construction. Let that experience work for you. And listen to Builder Remodeler Live with Monty Anderson Thursday nights at 7. Monty will answer your building and remodeling questions and give you the latest tips and trends. Builder Remodeler Live, Thursday nights at 7 right here on 540 WFLA. And visit Monty Anderson Construction online at MontyAnderson.com. WFLA, Pine Hills, Orlando. WKKS FM HD2, Cocoa Beach. You report, you decide. 540 WFLA. 540 WFLA.
It's 8 o'clock. I'm Michelle Murillo, 540 WFLA News. Holly Hill police hoping an abandoned SUV will help them track down a pair of gunmen that killed a teenager and injured 3 others. Police say 2 men in the SUV opened fire on a group outside a hotel on US 1 on Saturday. 19-year-old Donnell Ellis was killed. 3 other teenagers were injured in the shooting. The SUV was found abandoned a few miles away. Now, while police say they don't have any suspects in the case, they're hoping they can find some piece of evidence in the SUV that will help them catch them. Today is the day when people file those taxes, and many have to part with some of their hard-earned money. A group of organizations is out trying to make that point around the state that they say people are the bottom, and they're the ones paying for everybody else, especially those on the top. Rich Templin at the AFL-CIO of Florida says it doesn't matter who's in charge politically, the picture doesn't change.
When people talk about, we're going to cut taxes for everybody, and, we're going to do this and we're going to do that, they're not doing it to benefit the average worker in the state of Florida. They're doing it to benefit those at the top.
Templin says it's not about politics, but it's the golden rule. He who has the gold makes all the rules. But they are holding 2 of those demonstrations locally. They'll be at the Bank of America branches on Orange Avenue and LFA Trail at 4 this afternoon. President Barack Obama pitching his new deficit reduction plan on the road this week while the GOP continues to beat the drum for its counterproposal. More on that from Jessica Stone. President Barack Obama set to hit Virginia, California, and Nevada this week with town halls plugging his plan to cut the deficit by $4 trillion over 12 years. The GOP plan cuts $6 trillion over 10, overhauling Medicare and extending tax cuts for the wealthy. New York Democrat Anthony Weiner told CNN State of the Union those tax cuts are just too costly.
Over the last 10 years or so, we've given enormous tax cuts that have cost the Treasury a lot of money.
But Paul Ryan, architect of the GOP budget, told CBS's Face the Nation his on tracks and launch dates. 540 WFLA News Time, 8:02. I'm Michelle Marillo. Get these stories and more at 540WFLA.com. Sports is coming up. Volkswagen Libra Traffic Center. We have a slow ride eastbound along I-4 from John Young Parkway into Colonial Drive. We're also slow going westbound along I-4 from 434 into Mason Boulevard. See our busy traffic buildup westbound along the 408 from Dean Road into Goldenrod. Fire rescue is also on scene of a vehicle fire along Lake Mary Boulevard on the on-ramp to the Greenway. Expect to slow down through this area. We're in good shape along the Turnpike and no problems along 528. From the traffic center, Courtney Burns.
Traffic on air, online, a service of Gatorland. Hey, come on out to Gatorland and see our great shows and animals. Gatorland's full and senior special, $9.99 plus tax now for answers. For more information, call 407-855-4456 or go to Gatorland.
From 540 WFLA Orlando's 24-hour weather channel, today sunny with a high of 86, tonight clear with a low of 64, and tomorrow mostly sunny with a high of 90. Get the latest news, weather, and traffic anytime at 540WFLA.com.